Let's say one day we see an object with feathers and wings that can fly. Then some days later, we see another object with feathers that can fly. So we decide that these two are the same type of objects and call them birds. Nowadays, we are familiar with the folder structure of computers, where we make a folder first and then add things to it. It turns out this is not how brains work. Our brain sees the world around us and identifies it as a collection of different objects. And after some time, we find that two different objects seem like they belong to the same type, and only then do we form folders and groups. There is a personal knowledge management app that tries to emulate this process. It's called Anytype. Anytype was created by people who believe in data sovereignty, which means that in Anytype, all the data, including the encryption key, are stored in our devices. But this app syncs device to device locally without needing to have our email address or any information about ourselves through the Insync protocol, which was developed by the Anytype team. I have made a video detailing the features of this app, but today I want to talk about how Anytype forms categories and groups out of the information that we have gathered in the app. So to start with, there are two ways that Anytype makes groups. First is a set, and the second is a collection. I'm going to start with talking about sets. The most basic structure in Anytype is an object. Every object has a type, and these objects can be related to each other through relations. Also, the objects can be corralled together into sets according to their type, or they can be collected into collections. And collections can house not only the same type of object, but also different types of objects, different sets, and even other collections. There are a few ways of creating a set. Since sets are basically a query based on types, so the first way of creating a set that I want to demonstrate is by going to the type library. To do this, we're going to go to the sidebar and find this library widget, and it brings us to the type library. And beside that is the relations library. In the hopes of making this video as clear as possible, I'm going to just create a new type from here. Go to this plus create button, enter, and here is our new type. In the type page, we get the option for making templates, the default layouts, the default relations, and the list of the objects that belong to this type. But today I'm going to focus on this create button. If I click this create button, we get two options. One is for creating a new object of this type, and another is for creating set. Since this type is new, I'm just going to make few objects in this type so that we have some objects to work with. New object. I'm also going to add some relations to this new object. For this, I'm just going to make some demo relations. Go to the create button here, enter. I'm going to select the type tag for this relation and then hit create. I'm going to add another relation to this object. Go to the create set demo relation 2, enter. And for this one, I'm going to select the relation of status and hit create. And here's my two relations. For the set demo relation 1, which is a tag type of relation, I'm going to create few tags. For the status relation, I want to create few status. I can change the color of this option. For that, I have to first unselect these options, then click the three dots menu, and it gives me a option of colors. I can also delete this option from here. I'm just going to choose the status 1 option. I'm just going to go back to the new type that we have created from here. Open type, and this brings us to the type. This button will open the type in full screen view. And then I'm going to create another new object. I'm going to add the same relations here. 2 and 3, I'm going to add the status. I'm going to add the status 2. Okay, so now we have two objects in this new type. And as you can see, we can see these objects in this list here. Now I'm going to go to this create button and choose this new set of objects option, which will create our set. I'm going to Click this button to view this set in full screen. Now for formatting this object, we can go above this title of the object and click this icon to add an icon to this set. And also go to this cover menu and add a cover to this set. We can choose on the stock images or upload images or choose an image from Unsplash to use as our cover. We can use this object type button to change the object type to some other type, which will turn this set into some other kind of set, obviously. Now, this view is called the grid view. We should go to the title of this view here and right click on it. We can change the name of the grid view. Now, this show icon option. To demonstrate this, I'm going to go into one of our objects and add an icon to this. As you can see, the icon is visible. Now, we're going to go to the name of our grid view and turn off this show icon toggle, which will hide the icon. And I'm going to turn on this show icon toggle again. Now we have added a few relations to our objects and we want to view them. There is a trick to this in Anytype currently. If we press this plus button, we get a list of the relations that are added to our object. But see, we can find the relations that we have added in the list here. To find those relations, we have to go to the add relation options and find the relations first. So that demo relation 1, we're going to add this. This is not the only way to add relations to our object. We can actually go to this source button here, click it, and it gives us the option of all the relations. From here also, we can add the relation. And here we have our relations. Now we can also change the arrangement of these relations by dragging them over one another. We can also change the arrangement from this relations menu by holding this 6 dots menu and dragging them where we want them to be. Now in this source option, there is another option called view. This can change the view of our object. We can change the view from grid to gallery, to list view, and to Kanban view. We can also duplicate this view from here. Now we can see that when we add the grid view or the gallery view or the list view, there is only 2 options here, relation and view. But when we add the Kanban view, there is a third option called groups. This is because Kanban view can be formatted in different ways than the other 3 views. So here we get the option of group by. Currently, the Kanban view is grouped through set demo relation 2, which is our status relation. If you go to set demo 1 relation, which is the tag option, you get all the tags. We can just create new objects here and the relevant tags will be assigned to them automatically. We're going to make this. And if we go back, we can see that the relevant tag has been assigned to it. Here, let's add another object. And the set demo tag 3 has been assigned to this object automatically. Like any other Kanban view, we can just drag and arrange it as we want. Let's change the sort of the Kanban to the set demo relation 2. So the status can be changed from status 1 to status 2 or vice versa. Now this view option is same as the view option we get by clicking the name of the table. So let's go back to our grid view. Now we have a plus sign here which creates a new view. Let's add a new view and make it a list view. We can also duplicate this view. Let's right click and name this list 2. And here I'm just deleting by going to the name, right clicking and clicking the remove view. Going back to the grid view, I'm just going to add another Kanban view. And I'm going to choose group by as set relation demo 2. So after the source menu, we get this source menu. But this source where a new object is placed in our view. Clicking it, we see that by default, the objects are sorted by last modified date descending, which means the newest or the latest modified objects added to the top of the grid. We can also add new source according to our relations. Now we can click the three dots menu and change this relation to any other relation. And we can click the name of the relation and change it to ascending or descending like we want. And we can click this cross mirror to delete. Next one is this filter option. Now, we add a filter. The first thing that gets added is the name. We can change the relation from name to any other one. I'm going to choose the demo relation one. And then we can go to the all option and choose the empty one. None of the option is empty. Has auto. And then go to add and add tag 3. We can see that 3 objects have the tag 3. Now go here and remove this tag 3 and add tag 2. We can see that 3 of the objects have tag 2. And now we add the tag 1 to it. No objects has both tag 1 and tag 2. So like this, we can filter it in as many ways as we want. We can click this three dots menu, remove what we have added, and go to all. You can see all the menu here. There are some other formatting that I want to mention about the Kanban view. We go to the source menu again, go to view. Here is the option to color the columns. If we toggle this on, it sets different colors around the columns in the Kanban view and gives it a nice touch. There are two ways to add new objects to the set. In Kanban view, it is from clicking these plus signs or clicking this new button here. And from list and grid view, we can add from this new button as well as this new object button. Now, another thing is this drop-down menu, which gives us the option of the templates connected to this type. It just has a default blank template because we have not added any new template to this type. We can add new templates from here or choose one of the templates from the list that will appear here. This is pretty much all the capabilities of a set. This same set creation process can be applied to relation. So if you go to the library, beside the types library, there is the relations library. And as you can see, the new relations that we have added to our types are present here. If you click on one of them, it will open and it shows all the objects that have this relation. And we can click this create set button to make a set out of this relation. And this will have all the capabilities of the set. Now I have added a set widget to the sidebar menu. So if I click it, I see a preview of the sets that are present in my Anytype. And clicking it shows a list of all the sets that I have in my Anytype. Now I have mentioned that the basic unit of Anytype is an object. So most of the functions of Anytype can be accessed from the object itself. So a set can also be created from the object page. For this, we are going to create a new object by clicking on this plus button or using the shortcut Ctrl N. Here, we are going to go to this button and we can find our type, but we are going to create a new type to understand creating a set from scratch from an object. Now I'm going to go to this button and create a whole new type. Now we're going to click this type and go to this third option, which is the create a set option. And now a new set has been created. Now we're just going to go back to the set that we made before. And I'd like to talk about limitation of the set. A set has two limitations. One is that a set can only have objects of the same type. And another one is that since it is just a query based on type, on the graph view, this set shows up as just a single object. It does not show the objects within the set as connected to each other. But if we want to see the objects within our set in our graph as connected objects, then we go to the set, click this button next to the object type button and choose this second option, which is turn set into collection. Another information about this option is that once we turn a set into collection, we cannot turn it back into a set. I'm going to just click this collection and here it is. So what happens now is that if you go to the graph view, here's the highlighted new set, and it shows all the objects within the set, which has now become a collection as connected to each other. We're going to go back to our new collection. Here, now we are going to add a new type of object. So a collection can have different types of objects. So we're going to add a new object. Find the second type that we have created. This one. To make this clearer, I'm just going to add the object type option to this collection. As you can see, these are all our previous objects, which are all of the same type. But this object is of a different type. So to distinguish this new different type of object, we are going to give it a different icon. Now, we have learned how to add a new object to this collection, but how do we add an existing object or an existing set? For this, we go to the upper three dots menu, access this link to option, and find the object we want to create a link to. Let's say I want to add this English page to this collection. So we have added the English page into this collection, but we do not see it here anywhere. But if we go to the graph, we can see that the English page has been added to our collection. This is because the bidirectional linking shows up only in one place in Anytype at the moment, but it is being worked on by the Anytype team. This is all about sets and collections in Anytype. So the difference between a set and collection is that a set only shows the objects of a single type. And in the graph view, it does not show the objects as connected objects. But a collection can have objects of different types. And it can actually have other sets. We can even add another connection to this collection if we like. So this is a way of creating collection from a set. But we do not have to just make a set to make a collection all the time. We can make a collection from an object itself. So let's go to this plus menu and create a new object. And here we can see that there is an option to make a collection from the get-go. So let's imagine that we want to make a journal, and we know that we want to see the different pages in the journal as connected objects in our graph. Or we know that in our journal we'll add different types of objects like trackers and gratitude journaling and thoughts and emotions. So we want a grouping process that can have different types of objects. So we can just create a collection from the get-go and add the new pages of our journal as we write them. I'm just going to delete this. So these collections and sets are ways of linking large amount of objects together at the same time. But we can also link objects one at a time. One of my favorite ways of linking this object is from the graph. So we can right click on any empty place in the graph, and this new object option comes up. We can click it, and there is a new option. We can choose one of these types, and we have created a new object. To find this object in the graph, type in here and find the object. We can bring this object over to where we want. Click this collection. When list comes up, go to the link to menu. And here is the last object that we edited. Then we click it, and it is now connected to our collection. In the same way, we can right click on any of the objects in the graph, go to the link to menu, and connect two objects together as well. Now, another way to link two objects together in Anytype is to go to an object or create an object. Type in slash to access the slash menu, then type link link, which will bring up the link to objects menu with the list of all the objects in our Anytype. From here, we can choose one of the images to add to it. We can also format this image from this preview menu. Another way to link two objects together is by relations. We can add relation from the object itself by clicking the slash menu, going to relation, and we're going to add a new relation. And this is going to be a new relation. We're going to select the type this time as an object. This will give us the option to choose the type of the object. You can just not choose any type. And yes, to close this one, yes, to close this pop up and click create. So clicking on this box will bring up a list of all the objects that we have, and you can add any number of objects to this box. Now you also can do this again, relation slash menu relation, new relation, and limit the relation by type. We're going to click this plus menu to create, select the type will be object, and this time we're going to choose specific types to be added to this object. We're going to add this human type and this image type to this object and hit create here. Now you will see where the human and image types are coming up in this search box. We can do the same process from this triangle menu, which houses all our relations. You can click new, and in the same process, create a new relation or choose one of the relations here and add an object to this object. So these are the three ways to linking just individual objects together. Hope this has been useful for you. See you soon.